Coach Rhule. One, you did a thing this week that, as 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 the comedians say, lets me further know that you're the right person in the right place, doing the right thing. Is that you invited some folks into a space to just have conversations. There's no cameras, there's no social media, there was no interviewing, just you and your staff in a room talking to people and letting them get to know you all. And Coach, I have to ask, why? Why was that done?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me.
Oh, look, this is look, we've been working on this for a minute. So
I think the one thing is when you have a chance to just sit down with somebody, talk, break bread, have a drink, share a conversation. I think what happens is you start to really start to connect on different levels, right? And so, the people that cover us, whether it's radio, TV, media, social media, there's all these different avenues that cover us. I think we want to show appreciation to them, right? I mean, we can't have the impact that we want to have if people aren't covering it. If people aren't interested in what we're doing, then it doesn't matter. We don't have the program that we want. And then secondly, I mean, those people work hard. I mean, you work hard. Those are the guys that came to that work. And so sitting down and visiting and as you said, turning everything off. And it's kind of the old school way. I played for Coach Paterno, Friday nights before the game, he would do the media. I've made great friends with people over the years who've covered us because, just sitting down and having conversations and getting to know people. And so it just made sense a year in here just to sit down with everybody that covers us and just, sit there and visit, talk about their kids' little league team, talk about, and you know what, the job's a job. Like when people got to criticize us, they have to criticize us. When they have to cover us, they have to cover us. But on a personal level, it doesn't have to be personal. It can just be the job. And so that's why we did it. It was fun.
I mean, I think the big thing in it is that bridge, the bridge between your job and our job. And then if we agree to meet in the middle, one, I'm more respectful of the work that you put in to do the job that you do. And then you have some understanding of who is this person, right? And we become people rather than titles and responsibilities. And I think what you did that day, that afternoon, was one, allow your coaches to become people outside of the normal media rush. And you did a thing in it. You told your coaches not to talk to each other. You needed them talking to the media. Yeah, see, Coach, here's the thing. That coach and me, we call it comfortable movement, right? Yeah. That if I watch you, how you operate in it, then I can explain to the listeners, to the fans, you know what? Here's something I saw about your boy. Here's your dude. Yeah. Matt Rhule is a guy. Coach Rhule is a guy who is purposeful in his movement, and not everybody has that. So where does that come from?
Well, I think the difference for me this time around was, I had opportunities just to, maybe just stay home, play some golf. I got fired, I was getting paid. I came here with a purpose. I wanted to re-impact the lives of young people. When you're in the NFL, you're not really doing that. It just wasn't really for me. I wanted to be a part of restoring a national power and have a place in that. But I also wanted to say I impacted coaches. I'm very sad that two places we had the most success, Temple and Baylor, when we left, they did not promote from within. And I think sometimes it's because people see me speak. I think I'm able to articulate kind of what we're doing pretty clearly. And sometimes the administrators think that it's me, but it's not me. I'm just the mouthpiece of it. Maybe I'm the top of it, but I'm not the one doing the work. And so when I came here, I was like, I want to coach with people I love. And I've watched Joey McGuire go to Texas Tech and really have a lot of success who worked for me. I've watched Fran Brown now starting at Syracuse. He's going to have a ton of success. And so in that day, it's also a chance for, I think Evan Cooper is going to be a great head coach. I think Terrence Knight can be a head coach. Rob Dvorak, Tony's going to be a head coach. And so Sat could be a great head coach. I mean, I'm not leaving anyone out. They all could do it. And so they've got to get in those rooms and they've got to learn how to be comfortable being uncomfortable. And they've got to learn how to connect with people and some guys I'm wearing a collared shirt today. You'll never catch me wearing a collared shirt. I'm been in the building. He's gonna see me in t-shirt and
Oh,
shorts.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
When they walked into that, I'm like, hey guys, this is a small job interview for you, and it's an opportunity. So where does all that come from? I think I'm at a place in my life where I'm comfortable being me. As I told the players sometimes, I've been National Coach of the Year, and I've been a meme on Twitter being made fun of, when we were losing. And none of that's really real. In the middle, I'm a husband, I'm a father, and I like coaching football, and I like working with young people. And so when I came here, I was just like, I'm gonna do what's right. I don't mean to talk too long. The second part of it though is understanding that your stakeholders aren't just the players. It's the players, it's the university, it's the former players, it's the former coaches, it's the media. And if you can just treat everybody as well as you can possibly treat them while being strong enough to do what you think is right. Like I can love these guys and have them say, "Coach, I think we should be doing this," and be like, "No," and not get offended by it. Like, I hear what you're saying,
Mhm.
and still do what I think is right. Like, what you don't want is a weak head coach, and you also don't want a head coach who's afraid to talk to people. So I can sit there with the media, I can sit there with you guys and listen. And sometimes people say stuff to me, and I'm like, "Damn, that's deep. Let me go rethink what I'm saying." So it might be Coach Osborne drawing up plays for me. That might be somebody telling me, "Hey, this is how we did things." But I'm always, trying to learn and understand that, hey, these people are all important to Nebraska and to me.
This is why I know, being in the same space with you, one, you start to identify what people are really about. Like, you get to look beyond titles and you just go, here's this thing. But my connection to Carolina, I'm tracking you the whole time anyway. And the folks there were like, okay, here's what you got. Here's what you got. And there are folks in DC that track with Matt Rhule, and they, wait a minute, man, you got one. Like, you've got equipment managers and trainers, former trainers, who are shouting yes to Matt Rhule, which means a lot for the people behind the scenes. Next to me and next to you on the other side are two Husker greats. Great. I mean, in any discussion, these are two of the best at their position at the University of Nebraska ever. What is your thinking? What is your want for your relationships with them? Because Amon and Farley, first of all, elite Huskers, but these are two of the best human beings that can possibly represent a university. What do you want for them?
I think the first thing is I want them to, when they watch the games on Saturdays, that they're proud of the way we play. I mean, yeah, you want to win, but you find out a lot about a team sometimes when they lose. Like, you find out a lot about a team when they lose, they come back the next week. Like, it's one thing to come and you're the most dominant team. I get it. Well, then how do you play early in the game? You know what I'm saying? Like, just how do we play? Are we physical? How do we, then it's how do we practice? That's how do our players act? And that's how do we treat the players? And then it's how do we treat them? And so, for me, there's always I have to protect a lot of things, right? I have to protect the players. The things that I don't want is I don't want people coming to practice and then leaving and saying, hey, this player played well, this player's not playing well, because it's not the player that played well, it's the player that's not playing well. They hear all that. Like, I wish they didn't hear it all, but they hear it all.
Yeah.
And when we were playing, there wasn't a lot of that. There wasn't a lot of internet, social media at the level it is now. It's like our kids now, like when I was playing, if you made a mistake, you're like, oh, Coach McBride's gonna rip you in the morning. You know what I'm saying?
Only in the film room.
Now they come in at halftime. They want to know where their phone is. They want to see, like, you dropped a pass. They want to see if they're trending.
Is that so? That's really a thing.
It is.
That's 100% real. And so it's just they can't be free to play because they're so anxious. Like last year, there were two Husker teams. There was Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and there was on the field on Saturday. And that's the job is to get the Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday team to start showing up on Saturday, and we'll get there. But that's why, that's why I will say, like, hey, don't, come to practice and, but I've opened it up to the players no matter what. Even if I know that, so-and-so might get on the radio and say, hey, I saw him and he's not very. At the end of the day, if you bled for the team, you bled for the team. And I think trying to invite those guys back reconnects them to this. Because when I got here, a lot of the players were kind of like, you know what? The Huskers of the 90s and 2000s and 80s, they were so great. We're tired of hearing about it, Coach. And my point is, no, you can't get tired of hearing about it. But what you have to do is set your own course. You have to listen to it and not feel like a failure. Feel like, you know what? I'm a part of a great lineage of football. But there's also going to be many people who come after me. And right now it's about, what do I do when I'm wearing that number? What do I do when I'm wearing that jersey? How am I leaving it? These guys, they left it great for the ones that are here now. I've got, and you know what? Maybe we could be a part of going from 4-8, 3-9, 5-7 to getting back to being a contender. Now you'll have done something so special, but you have to embrace the negativity, or not, or the paranoia you feel on the inside, and overcome it.
I'm on.
Facts.
Look, man,
That's
you
all I gotta say.
deserve time with this gentleman.
Yeah. But it wasn't, you didn't pose the question, but you kind of put it out there about how you're watching your teams. There's two teams, that comment you just made there. You got Tuesday, Wednesday team, and then you got a Saturday team. And that was something where you and your coaches, when I went to spring ball last year, and I was hearing coaches yelling, coach speak, or just saying things, but it was the stuff as a player that I want to hear, because then it's motivating, it's correcting, and then the players are reacting properly to it. And for a guy that's didn't run all the way to the line to get off the field when there's a change of play and it's a substitution, and they start walking when they get to the numbers, and they're like, "What are you doing?" We're all the way to seeing that type of stuff as a player, former player. That's what I want to see. That's what I want to hear. And that was the part of me that told me, Matt, his coaches, they're doing it the right way, because it's the foundation that was dismantled, destroyed here, culture-wise, that now has to get reconstructed brand new. And so right now, just I'm going to say from me to you, you're on that path, because hearing what I heard at practice, those practices, I think I went to about like 5 or 6 of them. And then this year too, little night and day difference between the personalities out there, the rotation, because back and forth, you're in and out, different drills and how you're running them. And I love the fact that you did the little competition, the teams, the Rattlesnake boys, and all that. If y'all been watching this on social media, and I'm looking at it like he's sneakily teaching these kids how to be GMs, how to be sports directors, how to manage a squad, how to can we scout other players from another team we could trade for them? Like he's sneakily doing that. I don't know if these players realize he's giving them kind of a easy way in, or just a backdoor way into understanding how the NFL works, and now really college football, because we have transfer portal and NIL. So just seeing those little tidbits that you're saying, and you're definitely, I definitely agree with you on how you're saying you work with young adults, because right there, that's something that most young kids won't get. College age, high school kid coming in, it's like, man, I saw this. I'm looking on my Instagram at the video. I mean, you have it broken down where you have a anchor from the J school. I know the kid who does the talk, and I'm like, oh, and then he breaks down the teams, and I'm like, that's just being a GM, but they having fun. I could tell they're having fun. Castagnata, he's one of the coaches, or he's one of the GMs, and he's talking, and he's breaking. Well, this guy, he's like getting all into it. And I'm like, he don't realize this is information that is could use later, or he could use for himself once he gets to the NFL level, that he can understand that whole process, how GMs, the head coaches, becomes a business then at the next level. So you're giving them nuggets right now, gold nuggets, which hopefully they use and realize later on, like, oh, this was sweet. I did this in college with coach when he was during our spring ball, so and so. So just doing that stuff for me, I'm like, they know what they're doing. Well, so keep it going. Give me right there.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, I think the big thing, like you talked about, like, guys running off the field and all that, like last week, the scrimmage, the Tommy Hills, the Ty Robinsons, the Bryce, the guys who played a lot of football. I didn't scrimmage them. That's an old Coach Paterno thing. I have them practicing, but not scrimmaging. But I had them stand out next to me. And I was like, just wanted to hear. And all of a sudden you start hearing Nash and Ty and 3 techniques lined up wrong, and they're screaming for them to get lined up. And then, and so some of our guys, they early on, you start to panic about that. And I tell them all the time, like, listen, this is how I was raised, right? In football and in my family, love to me is correction. Love to me is being told when I do something right and when I do something wrong, and having no agenda behind it. And so as we get more comfortable getting corrected, what we realize is someone cares enough about us to tell us, hey, this isn't good enough, do it again or do it differently. And when it starts coming from the players, now that was way different 20 years ago, 10 years ago than it is now. It's way harder to get that. The spring league has gotten that, where all of a sudden now guys are like, well, I'm in charge. I told Deshaun Singleton the other day, I said, the rumor mill is starting to pop up on Pro Football Talk. You might be out as the GM, bro. You're not producing, but also having those guys out there and, hey, this is how we play. This is how we run the ball. This is how we run off the field. when it starts coming from the players, that's when like really my work is done.
Mhm.
And my work now comes into, hey, situational football. Like you can't worry about, I mean, you have to do some of it, but you can't be a lead at coaching third down and coaching 2-minute, coaching the situations if your foundation of playing hard
Mhm.
and accountability isn't at a high level. So I feel like in year one, while it was 5 and 7, we got a lot of that done. And now we're taking another step so that hopefully, as the players get better, as they get more confident, as their personality starts to show, as the swagger in their play starts to show, then all of a sudden they'll still have that foundation of, yeah, I can do all of this, but I better play hard and I better line up. And if I don't do it right, I'm gonna hear about it from my teammates, and it's not personal. And I literally have to do like you can probably tell this. I'm not a guy that loves to work out.
Mm.
I go in there every day when the players are walking through. Now I have our strength coach put us through a workout.
Yeah.
And if they tell me to get 12, because they stop, make fun of me. If I get 11, I get up. I'm like, I'm a punk. I'm so sorry. and they hear me talking to myself, and I'm like, guys, this is greatness. Like when you don't do it, it shouldn't break you. It shouldn't make you all sad. You got to go talk to your parents, and it should make you like just do it so angry to get back out there and do it again the next day. And that's that we're trying to raise warriors. We're not just trying to win football games. We teach a bunch of young men how to be warriors in the home and on the football field, in school, and in life. Then that's how the program gets restored.
I want to, for folks that are just joining and you just got in the car or you just got into your office and you think you're hallucinating. So let's reset and understand that here on the ticket, we have Nebraska football head coach Matt Rhule, and we thank him for giving us time today. And I don't want to be abusive of the time because I know that you have other things to do. You've got an agenda that has to be met. And before I give you over to Farley, the black shirt needs to get in the game, and I need to do that. But I want to ask you about maybe the most important person to the program that isn't talked about often. Your wife, because she holds it together. Like I can't do the station thing without my wife. And I can't imagine how much burden and load she carries. So here's an opportunity, Coach. Let's put your wife in the game and tell the story of this fantastic woman.
She's the best. This is a girl, like when I met her at Penn State, and people be like, oh, what's your boyfriend play? She's like, another team has the ball. Like he kind of stands behind and runs the ball. And now she's like, are we going to blitz? Like, are we going to take some shot? Like she is. So, she's a gangster. Like in our house, she's the alpha. And, but what I love about Julie is you go on a road trip and go up in the stands, and you're going to see Julie sitting there, listening to Colorado fans cussing at her and all that. She's going to be right there with my two daughters. Mm-hmm. Lose the game, win a game, there ain't no crying. We're sitting there in Carolina. You got 50,000 people chanting to fire me. Mm-hmm. She's going to sit there with my kids, proud to be my wife. Proud. You don't ever be embarrassed of your last name. Your daddy's working hard. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. If it does, it does. She loves the players. Every Thursday night has a different group over. We have a little loft down here. In recruiting, has all the parents. Loves the parents. Thursday nights we do family dinner. We invite everyone's girlfriends. So she brings a separate side to me, so as the players, as they're playing for me and trying to figure out who is this guy, they see I have a 19-year-old son, see I have 2 young daughters, but my wife brings a part of me that's way different, and she makes the program better. She makes recruiting better. She makes the staff better. So she's been amazing. She came here and, was moving her father here, and unfortunately her father passed away, while I was here recruiting, and she was back home in Charlotte. Her father passed away, and she was like, this is the last stop, Matt. Like, she said, you better win. She's like, you better win because I'm not doing this again. Like, it's one thing moving a son around, but these 2 daughters of ours now, they're 11 and 8. Little girls don't need to move up, moving all across the country. So she picked this job. And, she's opening up a business right now. So now it's funny now she's like, instead of calling me like, oh, you too worried about third down to call me? Now I call her. I can't get her on the phone. She's like, she texts me back like, I'll hit you back later. I'm like, what's this? But now Julie, she's special. And what she'll do, she'll take that hustling mindset that we have, that recruiting mindset that we have, that customer service, putting other people first, and she'll put it into her dry bar salon, and she'll try to make the experience for women that much better. But she also wants our daughters to grow up seeing their mom working. And she's not just opening a business and like letting someone else run it, put some money into it. Like she's in there grinding every day because she wants our daughters to see like your father works hard, we work hard, I work hard, and we expect our kids to work hard too.
Farley, we'll get you a question here and then we'll take a break because I do want to give him the opportunity to get out, whether he wants to, whether he has to or not.
Well, one thing I do love about Coach Rhule is that he says he cares about his kids. And that's one thing we learned from Coach Osborne is that when a coach cares for you, you play harder for that coach. And, Coach, I'm just happy that you put these kids first because a lot of coaches out here don't do that. They make a promise to these kids and they don't turn around and be the same person. Now, with you, you're the same person, and it makes these kids play better knowing that they got to play for you, and they play harder and smarter when they know somebody care for them, because Coach Osborne cared for all of us. I can't say the same about Coach McBride because he can look at you and scare you. But, just hearing that brings so much back to me that how hard I would play for this coach, that he cared for me so much.
But I think sometimes we think about coaches and players, going back to the beginning, like media and coaches, I just prefer to think of it as people. And, when I got to Carolina, going from college to the NFL, was really hard. It's hard because the NFL players look at you like, oh, he's a college coach. How's this going to be? But then COVID hit, and you're never around anybody. Every meeting's on Zoom. And it's like you wake up one day and you don't have a connection with anybody. And the other guys are going to do their job, And the last year I ended up getting fired. It was one of the best years for me in coaching because COVID was lifted. And every Friday I go play golf with, three guys. I invite, it might be McCaffrey, it might be Shaq Thompson, it might be, and we have dinners and Brian Burns, and I started to have personal real life connections. Cause as I tell our team all the time, everyone is not like we might look at you guys. Oh, okay. Husker legend, all the things you've accomplished. At the end of the day, we all wake up in the morning, we got something on our mind. We got something stressing us out. We got some sort of struggle we're going through, and seeing people as people. And so as I was going down the path of unfortunately getting fired and all the things that were going wrong, it was Christian McCaffrey with 50,000 people chanting to fire me, coming over and putting his arm around me in front of everybody. It was Derek Brown. It was all these guys having my back. And I was like, no matter who it is, at what level, it always comes down to connection. It always comes down to people. And it's my 11th year being a head coach. I've had to do the eulogy at my players' funerals. I've had to make that call. I've had to be there when guys have gone to jail. I've gotten a chance to be there when guys get married. And you know what? Once you've played for you play for even the guys who transferred, the guys who quit, I told them all, I love you no matter what. You have to go on your journey. I'm always here if you need me. And so that's a perspective year 1, year 2, year 3 at Temple I might not have had. But I have it now. And that doesn't mean that we're not coaching hard. That doesn't mean we're letting you do whatever you want. Love to me is not doing whatever you want. My kids don't get to come home with these. My kids don't get to come home treating people poorly. But talking about my kids at home. But our players, the one thing about being at Nebraska, this is as fine a group of young people. I think Tony said it at his press conference. They're fun to coach. If we put the Rattlesnake boys' name on it, they'll play for 2 hours without even playing. If I say it's 907, they might look at me like I'm nuts. If I say 907 Rattlesnake boy competition, they're out there flying around. But no, I appreciate you saying that because that's all it is. It's just people, right? People taking care of people.
100%.
Coach, I need to do this one again to thank you publicly because you didn't have to do what you're doing, and you didn't have to choose Nebraska. You don't have to go through all the stuff that you're going through in order to make this what you think it deserves, which is the real thing. I'll ask you a question, and in full transparency, I said you have permission to tell me the truth. Is there a possibility you could take a break and come back with us for 15 minutes?
Yeah, the only thing I have, guys, here's my day today, right? Let me tell you my day. And I want someone to talk to Vershawn about. I came here, he wasn't.
No. You understand that both of our phones are going to blow up the moment he finds out you were here.
I have 11:30 with Abdul Muhammad, and I have 7:00 tonight with Eric Crouch. So you talking about legend?
All righty, welcome back to the Captain Show. This is 93.7 with a special guest, Coach Matt Rhule. We're here on 1040 O Street, the Mill Coffee House. Bach, I'm going to let you take it over right now, Bach.
All right, like you said, Matt Rhule in studio with us here. And I guess just the question that I have is kind of thinking in totality with the change of everything that's going on. Of course, some absolute legends walking away from the game with Saban, of course, retiring, Harbaugh going to the NFL. I just kind of constantly think about the changing and adapting to the college football world. And nobody really knows what it's going to look like in 10 years. But we do know there's going to be coaches in 10 years. And you've got some, younger coaches on staff. So what is it to you? I mean, that I kind of just think you have to bend to kind of what's going on day to day. I mean, we're seeing laws passed in Virginia. I mean, things are changing constantly. So what is it about you? And there's going to be some people that say the old guard, they're not going to want to stay in coaching. So what is it about you that you think is going to work moving forward that allows you to bend, that allows you to adapt to an ever-changing college football world?
Well, the only ones getting out of coaching, the ones who've made enough money that they don't need to coach.
Yeah.
So let's not act like people are quitting to go. Like
See, that's the clip that we need because I need that set.
no, I mean, I think the big thing is you have to always have an eye towards the future because when there's fundamental changes, when there's chaos, the people that are the most prepared for are the ones who can make the jump, right? Like they're the ones who can, hey, they might level the playing field. Now it's our opportunity now to go ahead and get on top of college football. At the same time, you can't sacrifice today for 2 years from now. And so sometimes even like with NIL, sometimes people talk about, hey, it's going to be in house soon. We're going to be this. Like, just tell me what the rules are today, and stop complaining about like the rules are what the rules are. And so, you know what? Like that's like that's clear message I can talk about. So every single day, what are we doing? How are we doing it? Is it the best way to do it? And try to always look for a better way to do everything. And so, sometimes when young people come to work for me, they're like, they struggle because they're like, man, he's like, coach is always saying like, why we do this? Should we do this differently? But I do that about everything. I do that about myself. I do that, like, because every day you have to wake up and say, is this right? The thing changes in Virginia. Like, okay, well, hey, how does this affect us? What are our rules? And just constantly, and then push. You have to be willing to push. Like in today's college football, programs will only go as far as the people within the university, and whether it's the coach, the athletic director, or the administration, as far as they'll let them. Right? Some people are going to struggle at some point. Like sitting in a class and the professor's making this, and the basketball player, volleyball player, football player is making this. Well, none of it's right. What coaches' salaries aren't right. Like in terms of like our teachers should make the most money in our society, but it's not the way it is. And so it's very simply, what does Nebraska football have, and how does that compare to Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State, Oregon? What does Nebraska volleyball have? How does that compare to those same schools? Just hey, where do we compare? What are our things that we have? What are things we don't have? And just I think you need a coach who's just relentless, and that's. Hopefully I'm teaching those young coaches. So when Garrett McGuire is a head coach, he's in there and he's relentlessly fighting for every edge, every single edge to get their program one step better and a little bit better than the next opponent.
Coach, it's you're in that stretch of transitioning, right? You're adjusting, you're adapting. In-game management for you exists in the off season, trying to figure out not only what other folks are doing, your competitors and your business partners in the Big Ten, but making sure that the focus remains on Nebraska, right? You can get caught peeking over the fence at Ohio State and Michigan, and it will distract you. How do you maintain the focus? Because you have to be able to tell the boosters, the fan base, the NIL folks, all what it is that you need and want. So I'll ask, how do you make that decision? And what is the thing? Like, you've got listeners, you've got Husker Nation listening right now. This NIL thing is going to change everything, has changed everything. What is it that's going to help you make Nebraska as great as it can be?
NIL.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
Like if we have great players and we retain great players. No, I didn't say great recruits. Let me say this now. I didn't say great recruits.
That part.
People get confused sometimes with great players and great recruits.
Yeah.
Like sometimes a kid is a highly rated recruit because he was 6'3", 215 in 10th grade. Everyone he's killed, but he's never. We look at what they're gonna be, right? So to me, just all you have to do to know where Nebraska football is in 2, 3, 4 is look at how many guys get drafted every year. When you have a bunch of guys getting drafted and guys get drafted high, you probably had a pretty good team.
Yeah.
And so if we have good players and we can retain our players, and so I'm not even talking as much about going in the portal and taking people from other people. I'm talking about like you get someone here, you train them, you coach them. How do you handle it when they walk into you like, hey, coach, I love it here. I love you and you've done so much for me. But, so-and-so down the street just offered me $400,000. Like people like, oh, well, what would happen if you're running a dentist office? If someone got offered a 3 times raise, would they leave you or would they stay with you? Working here, if someone's hey, I just got offered 4 times what I'm making here, 5 times, 8 times, 10 times. So it's simple economics, right? So to me, sometimes people will say, I don't believe in NIL. And I say, there's no believing. It's real. You might not agree with it, okay? But it is here to stay. So everyone has to make a decision. Do we want Nebraska to be at the pinnacle. And I'm really simple. If you want us to be number one in the league, or let's say number 1 through 3, then the coach's salary should be 1 through 3. The recruiting budget should be 1 through 3. The training table should be 1. Everything you should say, hey, it's 1 through 3. And if you give me everything, it's the first, second, or third best in the Big Ten from NIL on up, and I don't get it done, I will walk my butt out of there. But don't give coaches 8th place NIL and 8th place coaching staff salaries, and then say, well, how come you're not first, right? And that might be different. It might be 20 years ago it was, hey, who could take a prop, who couldn't take a, or 30 years ago, who could take a prop, who couldn't take a prop, who could. Now it changes over time, but it's always who has the benefits, and that's real simple to me. It just comes down to, what do we have? I'm always going to go with players first. So if I tell you that I'm in it for the players, then I also believe we win because of the players, and so we need great players.
I think that's fascinating, and again, these folks that have been on air with me, they've heard me just yell these things to the top of my lungs. I need to ask you away from that. So you brought some folks with you today, and when you're off air, I'm going to put them to work too, because there's no way I'm going to have that talent in the building and not put them to work. Who are the folks that came with you today, Coach?
Well, Sean Patton is our general manager, so he oversees the spring league.
Yep.
Every spring league thing is his idea. But he oversees all of our personnel side from organizational hierarchical structure, organizing it where, from the ground level all the way up through Keith Williams, Vince Kent to Ryan Callahan, that, we're doing everything at the high level, oversees our relationship with the NIL, with the 1890 collective, who's been amazing to us, the Pete family, those guys have been amazing to us, but just making sure that we're on the cutting edge, working within our athletic department of, hey, so he's the one studying lawsuits and saying, this is coming down the pike. And so really just being a conduit to, hey, we want to be the best. So to be the best, I hired the best and put him in charge of it. I have Kiera Mayo here, who's my executive assistant. Like literally, I think I told you the other day, I couldn't have hired a better person in the building because the players love her, the families love her, my family loves her. My 8-year-old texts her every Saturday morning, hey, she's just a people person. And so when you have someone like that around me, it keeps me organized, but also humanizes me to everybody else within the department. College athlete, or was a former athlete, but has worked from the equipment room all the way up to the areas that she's in, and she's a rock star. And then Jarrett with Sean. Jarrett's, I have a bunch of former players who played for me. So guys, everyone, Terrence Knight and all these guys, but Jarrett played for me 20-some years ago at Western Carolina University. He was a 300-pound offensive lineman. He's now 180 pounds. Spent several years in the police force and then the ATF. He's, got tired of getting shot at. Hey, and came to me. So he's the guy that just fixes things with the players. In terms of coach, hey, I got study hall at this time. They come to him. They, instead of coming to me, they can go to him as well. Manages all the football stuff. Manages the coaches. Manages so. Like my right hand team, you throw Dr. Elza in there, and we, to me, you want great coaches, but the players spend a ton of time with the people they interact with. So whether it's Sean on the NIL front, whether it's Kiera in terms of just making sure everyone, them and their families are doing well, whether it's Jarrett just helping them with all the things that they need. We have a great group of people.
Do you care if Kara, just randomly spends 15 minutes a week down here telling us the secrets of Matt Rhule?
Oh, no. She knows too much. She knows way too much.
That was the thing I noticed is that, she's got the keys to the castle.
It's so funny. Like we're going to the basketball game in Memphis, and she's like, hey, coach, please wear something that matches. Like, you're going to be on TV. So she's like, send me a picture. Please send me a picture.
You just told everybody that cares a black woman. So you literally, you're going to be on TV so dressed like.
She's like
one of my daughters.
She's like, send me your shoes. I sent a picture. So I got between because my wife is like elegant, well dressed at all times. Like we were at Baylor, like the local steakhouse. My wife would show up wearing like she'd say, hey, we'll meet for dinner tonight. I meet at the steakhouse. I walk in sweatpants. Sweatshirt, and I'm like, they know I'm coaching. Like, if they want us to go to the Sugar Bowl, then they can let me show it.
Yeah.
So between Kiera and Julie, it's like bang bang on both sides, man. Like, hey, make sure you wear the right thing.
Sounds familiar here.
It's spectacular in all of this, right? That apart from me and this station, it was built on the belief that Nebraska was going to get it right in the most important program in the entire state, and to build a place where those conversations could be had. A third place, a meeting place for Husker fans to come in and talk about what they love and why they love it. What was missing was somebody to lead the way and somebody to direct this thing and make it worthy of having 18 hours a day of live radio, sports radio to talk about it. And there's a pride that's happening. And I just wanted you to be in the room so you understood that this space that we have, it's yours. Use it for whatever good you can find in it, because I trust that you are going to do everything possible, everything in your power to make this worthy.
You should do a segment every Monday where I come over here and you say, like, what did you think of the officiating in the last game?
Oh,
Deal.
And then it's like just put like a bleeping button. There.
No, we got the dump button. It's over there.
Deal.
It gives a 7-second delay.
Coach, talk about this replay
Book
call.
it.
Well, there's a way to do that without getting you in trouble. Like, there's a way.
Hey.
Because then we got to raise money for the fine that goes along with it.
It's funny. I got asked to speak at the Fiesta Bowl, and then when we talk about the college football playoff, and I said, the great thing is, it's my fourth program. I've been hired, I've been fired. I care very much what the people that matter to me think, but I'm going to say what I think. And I'm going to say it. I'm never going to say it in a way that hurts anybody. I don't want to hurt anybody, but like, if you ask me what I think about NIL, I'm going to tell you, like, well, there were a lot of coaches mad at me when I said a transfer portal quarterback costs, $1 million minimum, but that's the facts. Like,
That's
what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
So like, I'm at a place now where I'm like, I'm going to be respectful, but I'm going to say what needs to be said. Why? Because what good comes out of keeping secrets and holding things, tight to the vest. Now, at the same time, my job is to coach football and not to be, a pundit. So, I'm not going to go out there if I'm not asked, but in the right moments, like, I'm going to say what needs to be said. And so if I get fined for it, if I get in trouble for it, so be it. But
we have sponsors lining up as we speak to sponsor that Monday segment.
But you know what? I'm sorry, I'm talking too much there. But
No, you are.
Here's what I don't want. I don't want the schedule to come out and us be complaining about, man, we got, we got this, we got that. Like this year, we faced 3 teams who have a bye week before they play us. There's a part of me when I see it, I'm like, that's not. And I say, man, shut up. Like, we need to get back to the day where people are like, they gave us Nebraska. Why did we get Nebraska? Not where we're saying, oh my gosh, we got so and so. Like, it's supposed to be. So we should just worry about us and making sure we're the team that people are like, oh, we better not have Nebraska this year, and we better not have it late in the year. Oh, please don't let it be
kickoff
cold.
weekend.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Oh, yeah.
So like make us something
that.
special. That's what I have to. That's what you said earlier. I can't worry about anybody else. I have to worry. I can't worry any of the teams what they're doing. Sean has to do that, in the NIL world,
Right.
And Jay Terry has to do it in the equipment world, and Corey has to do it. But I have to just make sure that we are back to being, hey, we are the front runners. We're going to do what we think is right, and we have to have some guts. I think the one thing that's happened is that because of the success, from what I've seen since I've been here, people are so afraid to try to do something different because they don't want to offend anybody, and that's why, like, honestly, I say, like, come on, you have a problem if I do this? And usually the guys, the former players, are like, no, as long as we win.
Hey, you building?
Give me the W.
That's right.
You're building pros.
Here's what we're doing. We're gonna throw it to break, get the station ID in. We'll do 4 segments in the second hour. But Coach, we're gonna go take some pictures,
Oh, gracious.
do some videos, have you smile at us a little bit, and then I'm gonna pull Sean in here, and we're gonna have that NIL discussion that hasn't been had in full, because I know the people who are listening write checks. So, Coach Matt Rhule here on the Captain Show on 93.7 The Ticket.